Cash and the ticket is yours.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step
into a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss. Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
But a nice roll through with He's just gonna solidify everything within those.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lore is gonna be able to find these shots true.
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes the Nano immediately to back that fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
The drama, the energy, the journey henceforth, the mid-season is about to conclude. These teams have fought their way to this position, one of them being undefeated, the last remaining undefeated team, 0907, looking like the last gunslingers of the West, up against the Flock, who have had a different journey to get here, and on paper it's more surprising that they actually have gotten here, but now they are up against the task of beating a very good team. Tonight we'll conclude the mid-season playoffs of the Open EU tier. My name is Gio, I'll be casting for today alongside the illustrious Spectrum.
Illustrious is a pretty good adjective. I feel like I got to do that consistently in my branding. Kind of crazy. But no, as you mentioned, 2 teams here looking to battle it out. Of course, going to be first to 3 format here, so could be over in a flash. Of course, this is to differentiate from the playoffs, where at the end of that season, we will finish every single kind of tournament off with a first of 4 games. So that could take us a little while, a bit more of an undertaking here. But no, this one just for the mid-season, so we're going to keep it on a relatively tight schedule. Of course, while this game is going on, we also have another game live right now over on CGL 1, and some more games as well. Currently 1-0 between Blaze Marauders Tier 5 and EMC Kanidos. And of course, after this, 8 PM Eastern Time, Sort of Skilled going to be taking on Low Ground Main in the N8 Diamond Division.
Yes, and again, we've got 2 games going on, same as last time. It was us that were covering 0907 up against Bum FC, where 0907, they solved their puzzle, the labyrinth that was the Golden Pants Wrecking Ball compositions. They solved it with fairly ease. They had a very chaotic matchup. The Flock was going up against the Moths at the same time, and by all reports, and I watched it back, they also had a lot of chaos fights. It was a very chaotic, even outside of the fights themselves, it was a chaotic matchup, but they were able to get themselves through. So, will this be as chaotic? I'm not so sure, because 0907, they don't have a one trick to go up against. It's a bit more of a kind of standard team.
Yeah, 0907, of course, a team finding some success in Face It Master Division, as memory serves, being able to do everything you need a pretty standard team to do, relatively ban-proof. Of course, in their matchup against Bum FC, they were able to defeat the Wrecking Ball Scourge of Golden Pants, who was still just a bloody force in nature, but unfortunately couldn't do enough. And the rest of his team weren't really able to keep up. Flock, on the other side of things, have been the team who I've been, I feel like, kiting somewhat, but a relatively easy win over EMC Chimera to start this off after a really, really close win where they took Moss to a map number 5. They have been tested at Destination harder than 0907 have. We'll see if that's either practice maybe gives them an edge in this final, or whether 0907 are just going to be a tier above.
Yeah, and covering the Flocks, you know, the first match I saw of them, they actually lost during the regular season to LN Ecclesi, a team that got wiped off the board there by Bum FC. And, you know, we have had that kind of conversation where one half of this bracket has maybe a little bit more conversation around the best teams than the other side of the bracket, where the Flock arguments can be made that they had an easier time. However, you can't understate that the Moths were undefeated before the Flock beat them. Okay, that is a fact. That is a truth. AMC Chimera, they weren't undefeated, but they are a fairly good team. They've done fairly well for themselves, but the Flock beat them. And I always say this: yes, you've got good teams. Yes, 0907. They are, face it, Masters team, 4th in the standings there, so they're going to get into the playoffs in that division and face it. But it all comes down to the day. And I can bet your bottom dollar, and I actually remember Docky saying this, they were not really predicting the Flock to make it. They were looking at the Moths. They were thinking about the Moths more than the Flock. So there's the potential for a bit of a shocker here. It's going to be tough, easier said than done for sure, but it could happen.
Yeah, absolutely, it could. Remember, as well, if you don't like your brackets, always just PayPal as much money as you can realistically afford to Jake at Console Gaming League, and we can get it fixed out. We, of course, do accept bribes here. No, we don't. I'm just kidding. You could always try. I do as well, but there's not much you can get from bribing us. Flock ban has, makes sense. Magin's pretty good at it. The Flock likes to move away from it as standard. Feels like a has ban is kind of like the default opening in the ban phase for a lot of teams, considering he's relatively powerful, though, you know, maybe not like hard meta right now, considering the prevalence of like Malga comps. But he can still individually carry, and so teams want to get rid of him. R97 seeing the has ban, got options here, realistically. Feel like it could be very reasonable to ban a Soj, you could ban a Genji, just anything to make the Hazard a little bit less powerful. Genji probably would be my port of call here, but you've got so many options depending on what you want to play, right?
Yeah, and the Brigida going to get banned out early by 0907. Perhaps they still think they're up against Bum FC, where that ban worked really well for them on Dorado. But yeah, talking about Magin, we saw a lot of flexibility from Magin last match. Now, obviously, those compositions specifically designed to go up against the Wrecking Ball. We saw a little bit of Diva, the Sigma they had a lot of work with, especially combining that with the Sleeps. But no Wrecking Ball to contend with, but still, going for the Hazard takes out a strong tank from Magin, but there's enough flexibility there, and it being Ilios on our first map as well. Like, there's plenty you can do without the Hazard.
Yeah, absolutely. Monkey, it's still incredibly strong, should you so wish. The break ban is going to stop people from playing Ana Brig, and as well as a Brig Juno. So it kind of forces a Kiri Lucio backline, which is probably going to suit their playstyle a smidgen better. I believe we're going straight to the rosters, and let me zero right in on Kanale. Obviously a fantastic player, right? Has the OWCS experience, has a huge amount of fragging ability, and someone on 97 are most definitely going to be looking to enable, because he can absolutely put the pedal to the metal. I think it's a really, really great player, and as well around him, Condi, Turbo Smooth, Magin, Doki, all ridiculous in their own right. As I mentioned yesterday, Turbo Smooth does like to go pretty aggressive, and with 097 maybe being a little bit more likely to play double flex stuff today, then they might be able to enable him even more.
Yeah, and Doki was definitely a standout player last match. I would say the MVP and how they played that Ana. Also, I need to make it up to them because I butchered the name the whole game. Looking at the Flock, this team is the underdogs, right? They need to spread their wings and hope that they've got the power to fly up like an eagle, because they need to be the birds of prey. We've got Nixo and Seb on the DPS lineup, with Celix there on the tank. You've got Izya and Kai in the support lineup. All of these players have gone through a lot to get here. A very tough battle against the Moths, but they can't let the energy slide. They need to take that kind of war-torn soldier mentality and just power forward here and just play into their own strengths.
Yeah, it's likely an uphill battle for the Flock. We'll have to wait and see once they actually get into the server if that's actually going to end up panning out. But I think it's pretty easy here to feel like a prediction towards like a 3-0 towards 097 is going to be kind of where we're going to stand. Of course, things might end up shifting around once the action actually gets underway, but we'll have to wait and see. Looks like we've got Oasis for our map number 1 here, where we're going to be starting things out. And it is typically one of the more brawly control points. But again, it's control, right? You can play whatever you want. It's not the most restrictive game mode in the game. Of course, after that, it is going to be loser gets map choice, loser gets first ban, and your opponents can thereafter choose their own. So definitely, if you don't want to be in the position where you have to reverse sweep and have to play against 3 of your opponents' map picks and first bans.
Yeah, and when you think about, you know, say center as well, obviously lots of different flank routes, very good for dive. You're thinking, okay, maybe we banned that Brig because we don't want them to have Brig Anna as a backline to really stay alive. We want something that's maybe a little bit more vulnerable or force them into playing more of a carry kind of situation. It's kind of like unfolding there before our very eyes. But yes, a lot to play for today. Of course, the team that wins will get more points towards themselves, and that's going to help going towards the final playoffs. And in those final playoffs, that is going to be where they're playing for a lot of money. So that is something they have to contend with. This isn't just like a for fun mid-season tournament. There is points on the line, and then you can kind of take your foot off the gas, if you want to be American about it. Take your foot off the pedal. I can't speak anymore. But you can be a little bit more relaxed because you've got those extra points to help you in the seeding for that final playoffs.
Yeah, as you can see, we did get gaslit a smidgen. First map's going to be Ilios, which is a way better map anyway. Let's be real here, Ilios is just the best control map, and it's not close. Ruins sort of sucks, but it ends up being a bit more of a hit-scan-centric one. You see smidge more ground tanks. On Well, and especially on Lighthouse, right, it's just dive all the way. I mean, even in like the kind of really hard Sombra Tracer meta, if people were playing Echo comps, I mean, double flex are just absolutely fantastic here. Condi, I would be surprised if he does move towards any of those flex picks. It's just not really his thing. He is a pretty hard hit scan player for the most part. But O97 could get creative. So far, looks like Kanel wants to be on that main support role, which he absolutely can do, but double flex most definitely in their war chest as well. And note it's D.Va on both sides of the coin. Farah flirted with from Turbo's move, but considering they go for the Sim TP out, I'm assuming it is going to be the full mirror.
Yeah, so eyes on those tracers and how they control their different sectors of the map. High ground is immediately just staked upon as they just kind of feel each other out in the process. Neither looking to go too risky with it. Both tanks on the D.Va, so they can't go too fast too quickly. Imagine does have to back up to get the Meg here, but there's good enough movement to get up. Getting chased, a lot of pressure onto them actually. Will get D-Meg. Imagine just went a little bit too deep and caught themselves in a little bit too much of a tough situation where Doki is in your backline, and that's going to help you a lot. Because Sep goes down, that means that now we can see Turbo Smooth go a little bit more aggressive, takes down the Lucio, and sure, they lost their mech, which is essentially like losing your tank at the start. They're able to recover and take the point.
Yeah, O97 went way too aggressive, realistically. That's why the punish onto the mech came through, but O97 as well, they were able to hit more shots. Turbo Smooth gets his one, Doki gets his one, and even though you do trade out your tank, you go 2 for 1 with better positioning, and you convert that relatively simply. A great start for O97 here in this EU Open Tier Grand Final, but still plenty more work left to do.
Conde positioning up on the lighthouse here, looking to kind of like be a lighthouse themselves, a beacon of hurt, you could say, for the flock, or looking to again take control on this initial high ground, get Nixo into position to try and contest Conde. Imagine again going quite aggressive, flown over those rooftops. Light as a feather, but will they sting like a bee? Conde, well, Kai going down to the railgun there. Finally, Conde is going to get pressured out, pushed away. Imagine will fall, but in the meantime, so will Zelix, who has went down. Nixo finding Turbo Smooth means that they can play a little bit more aggressive out in the open here. They do have to just watch that they don't get taken out by Conde. As they contest a point here, they're going to push them back and get some percentage of their own.
60%, not too bad at all, and especially the fact you only spent a Pulse Bomb, you're in a great spot now to mount this defense. Turbo Smooth is going to have an especially hard time finding a pick with this, right? Your only good stick target's the Sojourn, because D.Va has the defense matrix, everybody else has defensive cooldowns, it's easy to kite, and oh, this is very bold scaling here from that Tracer, skipping over a lot of map control steps, but it pays off.
Yeah, Kanel's just going to take them out. Kanel finds Kai as well. Imagine falls up on it. Kanel taking a brief flight there, but not followed up on. Nice quick dive there. The Lucio being used as essentially a dive DPS to get the extra damage in.
I mean, that's essentially how you want to play Lucio in comps like this. You don't go for backline trades, you commit as 5 members onto the same target and hope they explode. This time, they do. The Flock now behind, 30% left to go means they have one really good fight and maybe a touch, but they go for a very far back beat.
And they know it, they beat early, so they get a good fight, but they don't get too much follow-up, and the overclock is now uncontested in terms of support ultimates. Celtics is just like, I'm going to use Demon Bomb in your face and see what happens. What happens is Kai gets taken out, because there's no peel for that backline. Turbo Smooth does get taken out. The Lucio's doing a lot of hurt against their opponents right now. 90% on the board, 10% remaining. We need to see a touch coming out from the Flock right about now, but they don't have their mech. There's going to have to be Izya, but they're not going to get there. Kanale with
mark.
a boop. Yeah, brilliant mark, and 100% to 30%. A nice start for 0907.
Yeah, unfortunately, the beat engage was pretty poor from the Flock. Normally, when you beat engage, you don't want to do it if you can help it. At the end of the day, it's a relatively low value way of using the sound barrier, but you at least want to use it to contest really, really dangerous space, right? If you're running kind of out of the mega room straight to point, then a beat's not bad there. If you want to run through the kind of central courtyard, then to point, you could do it there. If you actually go for a hard engage onto the backline, then it's not a bad opportunity. But instead, they use it to take space that should realistically already be there. It's just to force back the D.Va somewhat. So imagine just boosters away, and in the end, you spend one of the biggest ults that your composition has to force like a 4-second booster CD. It's just not worth at the end of the day. And the Flock do rightly get punished for that. 1-0 up now. Our 907 just looking to convert here on Ruins. This is much less about your Flex, your Lucio players, and much more about whether Condi and Nixo hit more shots.
Well, so far it has been fairly back and forth between the two, but we know what Conde is capable of once they unleash. And you can see Imagine marking Nixo as well. They know that they want to give as much space as they can to Conde to do what they need to do. And that's it. Takes out Kai at the start. And again, Kai being an early pick in a lot of these means that they're not going to have that healing, and they're also not going to have that kind of angle pressure that Kerry can give.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a Cap coming through hit first here, and I gotta say, retaking into Ruins is so tricky. Oh, especially if Condi's hitting shots like that. The amount of angles that you have to clear is just brutal. If I'm the Flock, I'm maybe thinking about making a swap over to the Torbjorn, because they've shown so far that they're just incapable of dealing with this 0907 DPS line.
Yeah, I learned when I was at DreamHack how sturdy the Swedish are, so a good choice onto the Torbjorn could find a solution to the issue, and that issue being that they're currently not being let very far into this map. Celix getting booped back, can't get the position that they want initially. Meanwhile, Sep just trying to take down Turbo Smooth, chasing them, playing Rocket League with them, forces the recall, but they'd already used theirs. Kanale comes and supports that Tracer. That's what you want to see from your Lucio. Your Lucio supporting your Tracer means your Tracer is always going to have the advantage.
Yeah, okay. Thomas actually touches the spawn doors. They are feeling confident in this EU finals. Not the way you want things to go. One of your stronger players does get double dinked by Kai, timing now for the Flock to exploit.
Yeah, you know, Icarus went too close to the sun, the wax wings melted. Perhaps that's what happened there. The beat goes on to 0907 though, so they will have that sustainability right into this Kitsune rush. It should be enough to apply that extra pressure, but it being mirrored out there by Doki is going to give them a great position. Kanale, I think a pixel of their heal was showing, gets taken out by the D.Va bomb. The percentage though is still for 0907, so you see that they're deciding to stay in the fight. I mean, meanwhile, Turbo Smooth does find Seb. Izya is going to equalize. Kanale's going to get back in time, and Magin's even going to put down the bomb because they know they've got the percentage. They know that their Lucio's back. They can stay in this fight. Meanwhile, another duel on the side. Kanale goes down, and so does Izya. Conde finding the shot. Finally, the point will go over to the Flock, but the fight is not over. Talk about those chaos fights. Well, here is one of them. Going to see which team is better at them, and with Conde's overclock taking out Celix's mech, well, I think we got our answer. Very close to 100%ing here and taking out Seb on the left. Yeah, can't even touch in the end.
He's hiding, he peeks, and Condi instantly rips his head off. That was a crazy railgun coming through there. On 907, hitting the grounds running in this game. And of course, Canel gets to play the game. This Lucio was just lethal, right? I mean, there's so many opening kills here. To see exactly how some of these were able to come through. It just sends it across the map. And fair enough. Kind of just muds 2 people. You really can't hate that, can you?
You have to love it. You have to respect it. I mean, a little bit of Sniper Lucio, a little bit of follow-up onto the carry, a little bit of a 2-for-1. A very relaxed and in control beginning to this matchup. 0907, I wouldn't say they got pushed to any sort of limit or really felt any sort of pressure, really. The Flock, they need to turn the heat on the oven up a little bit because the preheat wasn't there, and now we need to see them turn it around.
Yeah, I think a lot of decision making for them to make once they figure out how they want to actually reach some sort of edge above their opponents. Of course, they're playing the full mirror basically the entire time, and it don't work out for them. So they got to think, how are we going to change up our bands? How are we going to go towards a map type that's maybe a smidgen more comfortable for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've got to put a lot of thought into that because they do have first ban, and the map pool is entirely open for them. So this is the map statistically that you're most likely to win, right? It's the map where you have all the bans open for you. You can go towards any maps that you have no restrictions in how you can shape the situation to your advantage. But on the flip side of things, right, they also have pretty low in information. See exactly how they want to deal with this, as we have just heard what the map is, but it seems like they want to go for a shake-up of their styles. It seems like they want to take us to something a smidgen less divey, and it seems like they want to just try and match the tank trade a smidge more, because it seems like on the DPS ones, they weren't finding too much.
Yes, taking us to King's Row. London, terrible city, makes a great Overwatch map though.
London's fantastic, what do you mean?
Sorry, that's a Scottish in me talking. King's Row, yes, it looks like they're probably looking to bring us down to the ground, get dirty, bare knuckle brawls, but that's not to say that King's Row is undiveable, or at least like you have to play brawl. There's different ways about it. You can set Condi up on the high ground as the Sojourn on defense, or turn them onto the high ground there, just poke them out, force them off point. There's different ways to play it, but maybe we see Reinhardt, he says, knowing full well we won't see a single pixel of my favorite Crusader. Ah, okay.
Kiriban is curious, but kind of makes sense. I see why you would want to go towards that. It's not fantastic. I think typically you see some more Juno here, but if you think that Doki was a problem, then it's fair enough and stops people from playing really fast comps, queen comps, that kind of thing that Imagine is going to be pretty comfortable on. On 907 with their own ban. What?
We said it. They seem confident, and I guess they just don't really see a need to ban any other hero. Roadhog gets banned. We obviously didn't need to protect the tank role, but I guess they're just confident enough that they don't really need to ban anything specific.
Yeah, I mean, seems like it. I don't think the Roadhog was much of a likelihood. I'm gonna be so real with you.
You never know.
I mean, he just sucks on King's Row because you can't avoid the frontline trade. He just loses the frontline trade. You can go like Ryan, he dies. You go Zarya, he dies. You go Queen, he dies. Like, it's not a great pick. Yeah, Kiri's banned. So I guess maybe Queen's going to be a smidge better because you have purple cleanse at least. These are some very, very odd bans.
Yeah, I like what you're saying though. Potentially it's to angle for the Junker Queen. However, on King's Row, you're going to see all sorts. You could see the Orisa come out, you could see the Ramatra come out. Queen would still struggle in some regard, but without the Suzu there, does help. Especially if the fact that Queen got 100% Carnage lifesteal as one of their major perks. It's insane. You can, if you hit 2 people, you practically heal to full. So it is really helpful. I would say Junker Queen, one of the tanks that have really benefited from the perks.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with Queen, her best perks can even often be the Shout Reload, and what's the other major perk for her? Extending Bleeds with the primary fire. I mean, you can basically just permanently heal off of someone. It's kind of crazy. But no, Queen definitely a big winner when it comes to the perks. Maybe not as much so as Malga. I mean, I feel like teams might as well just mirror Malga here. The hero's pretty bloody good. You pay attention to OWCS, and he's all the rage right now with some Genji Soj, Genji Pharah kind of beat. I don't know. It feels like it was going to be bread and butter for a lot of these teams. 0907 absolutely could play if they wish, but instead going to be on a Zarya comp with the Juno break. There's a lot of resources being put into Majin here. If he flubs his bubbles, then it's going to basically evaporate, and you can't enable Condi as much. Turbo Smooth can take him, wreak havoc, and a high charge Zarya as well is obviously just a force of nature.
Yeah, curious that we might see the Hazard come out from the Flock, who were the team to have banned Hazard previously. Meanwhile, we see some Venture gameplay there. I do love Venture. I think Venture really succeeded in the perks as well. The major perk, or is that a minor perk? I don't even remember. Where like the cooldowns are like much less so in the ult. That has really helped the Venture players.
Indeed. Starting this poke out early, waiting for a railgun from Condi as hope to force out some resources. Walk up the statue for free, but really, 0907 do just want to fight over this point space.
Yeah, and that's where you're going to see most of the control there. Celix is toying with the high ground, see if they can get anything done. A hack onto Turbo Smooth. I mean, they can't burrow, you can't dig yourself out of that hole. Nexo going to take them out. Now you see a bit of a tough spot is Majin, who is going to get lots of heals. It's very high charge, needs to go down quickly if they don't want to lose anyone. Seb will get melted because there just wasn't enough eyes on the Zarya there. Condi getting forced out, and it looks like they are going to take control swiftly here of first point. Chance for a retouch, but not if Turbo goes down.
Yeah, but they will be able to escape at least for now. I've got to say, I do think they weren't expecting to play into this kind of has Sombra comp. It's just not all that common, realistically, and I think it has kind of thrown them for 6. They probably need to figure out how they're going to punish the backline this mission more. If you are Turbo Smooth, I might even be thinking about making a swap over to a Tracer, or just Canal outright killing Seb.
Yeah, Canale bashing Seb out of reality. That is going to happen when you've got Brig in the back line, protecting that Juno, keeping that back line alive. Very survivable indeed. And of course, now they just get to hold at this choke. The Hazard's going to fly through there, try and get something done. The Glaswegian trying to do something here in London is not going to get too much done with the Nano, unfortunately, because Turbo Smooth is just dealing so much damage, drilling Kai and Celix. Got a lot done there in the Venture.
Yeah, the cart stopped halfway through the choke. Yeah, the time makes large, but you've got high charge on your Zarya, you've got perfect choke control. The Flock have a comp that just loses the frontline trade, as well as being behind in most of the check marks that matter. If you're on 0907, you can just rotate your ults and probably just win, right? Because what do the Flock do against a Grav, or an Orbital Ray, or an Overclock? Or nothing at all, apparently, as Nixo just gets one shot.
Yeah, you have to be very well aware of the burst damage that a Venture can do. There is a combo there where you can essentially one-shot most characters at a certain HP pool, and Turbo Smooth has done just that. Needs to be careful how far in they go, though.
Yeah, still plenty more fights left to take. And that kind of bait setup isn't going to work much longer. This time, 0907 do need to start getting into their ultimates, but there we go.
Oh, yeah. The beat is going to save them temporarily, but it's so much damage that even after that beat health wears off, they're just getting pummeled right now. And what was a very quick point one, it feels like this is divine punishment for daring to be so quick about it.
Maybe. Listen, silver lining here. 0907 probably didn't need to use that Orbital Ray. Could have saved that for another fight still, but spending it there, the Flock will be pretty happy with. Nixo's dead again, though. Not the start that you're looking for. All you can really do is cancel while Turbo Smooth, it just continues to be a nuisance in the backline.
Yeah, you don't want to get mortar striked by a Zarya. That's probably not the way you want to go, especially if you're in your spawn. But you can write home about it. Guys, Venture heading in, Connie having some fun in the chat, just trying to do something here with EMP now. Doesn't really get anyone, gets taken out. Turbo Smooth does fall, but meanwhile Canale is just... They've taken a rock, put it in a sock, and they're just socking folks in the face here, and they're just winning out the fight despite that early EMP.
They're just chilling. Absolutely unbothered is the best way of describing it. Yeah, their ult cycle is somewhat behind because they've been winning these fights, so, you know, trouble-free. So once they get through these DPS ults, they won't have really much options, and the Flock are coming up to a nano boost as well. So Condi and Turbo Smooth, you'd love one of them to go huge here.
Downpour's ready. You want to make sure you've got your umbrellas at the goal. It's going to go into the back line. Don't believe it caught too much there. Condi went down, so it might have caught them. Imagine though, I Charge is dealing a lot of damage to Nixo and Izia, doing a lot of work. Meanwhile, Hazard kind of slowing down. Imagine just is all the eliminations in this fight. Turbo Smooth cleans up and takes Silix out.
Walks into the back line, beams 3 people. Fair enough, you really can't hate. That is somewhat the weakness of this Lucio on a backline. If you mess up your spacing even slightly, then you just die. It's as simple as that. But Imagine's controlling it perfectly right now, and another grab, just wants to keep the pressure high.
Yeah, only gets the Hazard though, so Celix able to block a lot of that damage. There's no real follow-up. Nano there, I think Kai was dying. I just wanted to Nano to try and stay alive, but Condi is just dealing straight damage, packing them up into their spawn. As soon as they got first point, it felt like they walked into a bear trap because it was like it was designed so that they could just pack them into the spawn.
Absolutely. So now 97's ult cycles are right back up, right? Remember I was talking about how they were low on their Rally, on their Ray, on their OC? Well, they're all back here again. 97 are kind of dumpstering. The Flock have to put faith into Nixo's OC, but I've been saying that for like 3 minutes, and he's gone down first 2 or 3 times.
Well, maybe 4th time's the charm, because Kaneo goes down. That starts it up. It is Condi who uses the overclock, knowing that they're down, needs the extra punishment. Nixo,
where are you
that was
going?
brave. Forced down barrier of their own team. Orbital Ray comes out on the other half, and Imagine uses that to just pack them into the microwave and put it on for 3 minutes.
Indeed, the Flock now at 35 seconds. You're going to put all your eggs into the set basket. If this Sombra isn't able to get an EMP connected onto, I mean, basically 5 members here, then it might be all over. But they're crying for the Flock. This offense, it had a little bit of gold at the beginning, but after that, it's been nothing but dirt. Turbo Smooth will be able to escape out. The nade finds little.
Yeah, it doesn't get too much from it. Imagine still on that front line. Kaneo just about to get back to the fight. Kai's at half HP, is dealing a lot of damage, being dealt a lot of damage. Again, an EMP doesn't find a whole lot. Kaneo eventually goes down. That rally was keeping their team alive for a majority of it. But again, they're just losing, especially to this tectonic surge. The cobbles of King's Row are being used against the Flock, and they don't have the wingspan to fly away from it. Practically a full hold on point 2. They were not allowed to get through that archway spec. They were just banned from that part of the map.
5 minutes on the choke is kind of brutal. You're going to be tilted after that one, right? It feels like just nothing went their way. Like I mentioned, Nixo got picked twice, 2-3 times. 0907 would consistently just solo grab Celix, who couldn't play, just didn't have the option to. The EMPs weren't connecting. The nanos were used when you were kind of trading negatively. Just, unfortunately, things kind of went from bad to worse for them pretty quick. Not the way you wanted this to go. 0907 now, I mean, obviously there's a chance they lose this map. If they cap and don't win another fight, then fair enough. If they don't cap, then again, fair enough. But 2 fights with at least 4 minutes seems very, very durable, especially for a team of this caliber, a team who is finding so much success. Malga, is it better than the Has typically into the Zarya? I'm not quite sure about it, right? Because against most tanks, you can just stun them and then their day's ruined. Zarya can just bubble every single one of your slams. So even though it sucks for her to eat some of the damage from your cardiac cycle, the actual pins are going to be finding very little impact here. Kaneo, by the way, has finally been able to take that flex support role. Doki's going to be playing some Brig for a second, and we'll see what the OWCS player can do when given an opportunity to frag.
Yeah, the Brig Baptiste backline, not a regular backline, but again, I don't think they're too concerned about being too efficient with their compositions. I mean, like you said, Kaneo immediately goes down. Maybe they should swap back, actually. It was working the other way around.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, they're just getting grated by those miniguns.
It's not as pleasant as you maybe want it to be, as Celix does currently swing the spawn. Can't do it for too long though. Gonna wait for that cardiac as well as the respawns of R97 coming all the way back, and not the start you're looking for, but you still have plenty more of attempts for R97.
Oh yeah, they've got the time. They're not under any obligation to rush this one. They can play it nice and slow. Just get Condi onto the high ground. The slam's gonna go around, like doing a full power steering around the statue. Meanwhile, Turbo Smooth goes down to Nixel, but Condi gets Vengeance. Another slam to the back line. Using the cardiac overdrive into a brick, those shields fluctuating. Bang Doki, that has caused so much issue for the big Mauga, who couldn't quite get the self-healing that they were wanting from it, and now the ritual of killing the mate out of Ice Block.
Yeah, there we go. Seb stalls for however much time they can find, but again, it's going to be, I mean, less time at least than the Flock had to get through the archway, but this time 97 will have ults. They will have some momentum very likely, and though they are low charge on their Zarya, they also have all the time in the world. A singular slip up here from the Flock will force them to be in a reverse sweep or come second place position. Never really where you love to be. You do at least have the Blizzard of Seb. Nixo's OCs have been quiet, at least so far. And the Flock really need to get this ult rotation up online, because that's exactly how R97 were able to batter them back.
Well, they've been up against tough competition, but now they can't make any mistake. Window comes up from Canale to create basically a question mark to, are you really sure you want to push into this one? Seb has put down the Blizzard, but it's not enough. Name dropping the company that makes the game will only getting you so far. But Turbo Smooth, well, they could Tectonic Shock right in the face of a practically full health Mauga. Didn't work out for them, but Condi is on this map, so people will be dying. And that's they're not actually birds, imagine. You can't do that, but they get the map nonetheless.
Yeah, 2-0 here on R97, just cruising realistically, not showing, I mean, much stress on anything. Very little friction experienced as they find this spot. I mean, the defense obviously was the standout performance of this series so far. Even no real resistance there either, but on their attack as well, they lose a fight and a half, and then just keep it going in their favor. And if you are the Flock, I don't know. I haven't really seen any silver linings for them. There's nothing I can say. There's no one's individually fragging. There's no composition that they've thrown that seems fair. R97 aren't playing in a way that I think is exploitable. The Flock aren't doing. It just seems like R97 are playing cleanly, and the Flock can't match it.
Yeah, that's the backlash of getting this far. You get to the finals, that's already a good position to be in. You've already gotten yourself at least some extra points there compared to the competition, which the Flock are one of the teams that would really benefit from it. But when you get to the finals, you also have to play some of the best teams, and you're now up against 0907, who outside of CGL are 4th seed in Masters Division, and face it, this is not some random team put together for CGL. This is a team that's went strength to strength. They've got coaches, they work together, they're constantly thinking about how to improve together, and you're feeling it. This is a very dominant showing. But nonetheless, 2 maps have been played, so we will go to a regularly scheduled break. We won't go too far. 0907 looking to basically cement their legacy, get a quick 3-0, send it home. Now the Flock, though, they are up against it. Can they take a map from 0907? Check out after this break.
Got lots of love. Got lots of love. Got lots of love.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
Oh 0907 are in the lead. They are proving that they're not paid by the other. They're making it quick, they're making it snappy, and they're proving themselves to be more than just an undefeated team in CGL, but they're earning their stocks across that they've earned in EU. The Flock, however, tough spot right now. They have to get reverse sweep. And yes, they have been in a position before. They've had a very close matchup to get to this point, but it's getting tougher the more that this match gets on.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a weird spot, right? Because while I'm struggling to say the Flock is a bad team by any stretch of the imagination, right? They're playing well enough. It's just 0907 are kind of playing better in every category. It's just kind of outclassing them. And so it's really hard to say, I think the Flock should change their style or go towards different bands. It just looks like they're kind of losing, for lack of a better phrase, right? Bands gonna come through. If I'm the Flock, I don't know. Between us, like I really got nothing for you. You're heading towards like a Suravasa on map. You could ban like a Malga. I wouldn't mind that at all. They get rid of Zarya, fair enough as well.
Yep, I mean the Zarya was working. Even when things got chaotic, there Zarya was doing work, and yeah, I don't know if 0907 are really gonna go for any targeted ban. Last time it was a Roadhog. I imagine Lifeweaver's next. They're probably not. Oh, they actually did go for Lifeweaver. Okay, yeah, they're not concerned about banning heroes right now. They understand that they are a level above their opponents, which is a fair estimate to make, and the only hope that they can make is that they don't underestimate them too much.
Yeah, I imagine they would struggle to do that. Just they seem to be so clearly in the lead here, in the name of being an incredible pedant. I feel like if you want to just waste a ban, it's technically more efficient to waste ban on like DPS. Because if you waste ban support, then you run out of the ways to protect ban support in the later maps. Especially if you're like a best of 4, right? Or a best of 7, rather. But it doesn't matter at all, right? It doesn't matter at all. This is the most like non-emoji optimization thing maybe possible.
I don't think 0907 are going for optimization right now. I think they're just chilling.
I mean, they just want to get it over and done with, I'm assuming. It's because they're not really trolling at any point. They roll up, they get the win. They're having fun, of course. You know, the grab on the wall kind of shows that. But it's not like they're rolling out on, like, Mercy Widow comps and just praying. They're definitely approaching the game in a reasonable way. These comps are well thought out with this kind of Sig brawl that they want to start out on.
Well, Indra is now in the Flock. This is one of their starting players, and to my memory, a fairly decent player. So this could help them turn things around. But it looks like they've already been countercomped, because this Sigma is going to do very well against this Mocha.
See how this is going to go out. As long as Majin doesn't get his grasp force early, then it should just be 0907 taking this. This is a very comfortable matchup in general for that Sigma. But hey, maybe something's going to be a little bit different as already into the backline, Condi just obliterated.
Yeah, Condi found himself on the wrong side of the Mocha, and their team split alone, and now you see 0907, they're respecting that they are down a player, just backing up, using the wall a little bit. Doki is defending himself there, going to the head will stop Indra, but I don't think they've been up against Indra yet. They are feeling the heart a little bit here on the push. The Mocha doing its work, Turbo going to go down, and the control actually for the Flock, so far so good for the Flock. They just need to not let this chaos kind of turn around on them. Just follow up onto Majin, who has used the grasp now, is just flirting around their own shield and eventually will go down.
Bad fight there from the Flock whatsoever. Condi just caught out on that rotate, just flubs his lines a smidge. Doki gets his one. Indra is put in jail for a second, but it really doesn't matter. This is all just time off the bank. Turbo Smooth staggering himself something crazy. And then 7 going to have at least another try, as long as Majin doesn't get himself taken down again. You've got ults on both sides of the equation. The beat the Kitsu probably give you a small lead if you are 0907. But losing your Sojourn first in that first fight just meant you lose the poke. And if you lose the poke as Sig, you don't have too much going for you at all.
Yeah, and you saw that they were just like on the back foot, but Condi making up for the previous mistake takes out Nexo, and the Kitsune Rush on the side of 0907 pretty much going to seal the deal as the Flock need to fly back for a moment, allow the point to switch over, but they are going to come back into this one using the Orbital Ray right into the Flux. Is going to try and follow up on as it does get the railgun. I mean, Condi again really stepping up for the team to make sure that they don't lose another fight in a row. Beat comes out just to sustain it, but really at this point they had already won the fight.
That they absolutely had. So obviously right back into their favor. in terms of the ult, I feel like it probably favors 0907 here. The Flock don't really have the tools to deal with a good Blizzard coming through. If Turbo Smooth can combine the Ice Ult along with the Blizzard, I mean, it's basically a guaranteed fight win, as they'll be able to catch one player of at least Celex and Seb or Izuya. And once you get one of those players down, it's basically all over but the crying for the rest of the Flock.
And they don't want to deal with the fallout of that one, so they're still going to push forward nonetheless. They're going to be pushing right into the Blizzard, of course, so you have to be careful getting split up. Celex just getting so much poke into them, just can't get through, and they're going to touch just in time for that one caging up Majin. Followed up with the Blizzard, actually Turbo Smooth going to be in a tough spot, but Celex gets frozen up, of course, and now, yeah, it's just going to be one by one for the rest of the Flock as they go down, one bird at a time, and 0907, they don't let the Flock get that point.
No, they do not. 1-0 here. Great job at coming back from behind and stagger kills as well. Getting that mid-rotate pick onto Izuya is absolutely beautiful. 0907, I mean, they lose the one fight and they are right back into the action. Once they clean up some of the slop, then it seems to be pretty clean from them. They do have to make sure Turbo Smooth doesn't get caught out, so it's Canale getting their taxi onto the Mei player, so they will be able to reach the point first in the pick onto Nixo as well.
Oh god, yeah, Nexo getting the brunt of the DPS line of 0907. Ezia just gets absolutely rocked, and I think Majin would even do that if they were in a glass house. And they're just forcing them back all the way back to spawn as they take early control on this second point.
Yeah, that they will. 0907 right now, 4 ultimates, control of the point, and 1-0 up on this map of Suraversa. Everything and more feels like going in their favor. And if you're the Flock, what can you even do here? Try and Ajax the Flux? I mean, it's so low odds, you just don't have the options for this.
Yeah, the beam though, gonna come down. Really hoping to do again, but the Flux is such a good counter to it, especially with the wall. They just put Seb in prison and then beat them up for it. Like, Seb had no response to that, and now a very nice, clean win for 0907. Yeah, they're just looking completely dominant here.
It's a great start here for 0907. I mean, there's just no problems experienced. They probably didn't even need the Kitsune Rush, to be entirely honest. The Flock took all the momentum out of that push. But the Flock now totally skint. They can swing with an OC. Condi will be able to mirror it out. But with the Lucio and the Sigma both, it's just Condi so much more enabled here than Nixo will ever be.
They're rotating around this post as well. Just trying to get the touch, and see Canale just having fun here. Being able to maneuver around so quick. Looking to take out Nexo again, yeah. Nexo, it's different people every time, but Nexo's getting found at the start of these fights. And you see Majin flying away from the point. It's now map point, match point, 0907 looking to make it a nice clean sweep.
That they are just one flashpoint away. They complete that, and the only point they would have dropped in this series will be that first fight they lost in King's Row. This looks to be, I mean, dominance realistically. Just the Queen swap. I mean, I don't mind it. I think it's probably better than the Malga, but is it enough to overcome? I've got to say probably not, right?
It's a bit of a Hail Mary. I mean, obviously you have to consider the fact that you're now behind on perks as well, so you have to acknowledge that the Sigma is just going to be a little bit more, you know, it has more options right now than you. Going in with the Carnage, hits nothing but air, dodges the rock, but the Shout is defensive, doesn't even push in with it, and the Flux doesn't need to wait for the orbital ray this time. They just walk on them here, and this is as dominant as we saw Imagine last time on Sigma against Bum FC, and right into the spot almost takes out Seb right in front of it.
Yeah, that they do. Listen, silver lining here, the Flock have a fantastic ult cycle here. One that 0907 simply don't really have the tools to repulse. Best case scenario here for 0907 is blizzarding the orbital ray, denying that value, but they go for an early fight here and catch them in the choke.
Catch them in the choke, and now they can't breathe, and they're just feeling the pressure. In fact, they pop both support ults to release the grip on this choke. They are pushing through it. They have to take Imagine out, following up with the overclock. I mean, yeah, if you spend all your pennies at the arcade, you'll eventually get a prize.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. So able to get some percentage points on the board here. A kill onto Izuya means that you are by no means comfortable. However, I97 coming back in with an overclock, and they only really need one fight here. Necessary kill onto Doki.
Yeah, staggering himself out there, I think, you know, there's a slight disrespect that they're not really respecting him too much, that they thought they could maybe 3v5, and they are feeling the hard. In fact, imagine even going down as well. So the Flock have kind of found 0907 kind of relaxed a bit too much, I'd say.
There's a certain amount of that, yeah. 097 do have a bit of a tendency to go for some pretty gratuitous staggers here. Injure will get some free scaling, but a pulse onto the Sig will do little other than make him sort of mad. It's a weird Queen Ult timing, but they might have figured out a way to catch them out. The Flock have staggered their opposition all the way through, so unless this Condi overclock is absolutely ginormous, then with 15% left to go, there might not even be a touch.
Yeah, it's real messy. It'd have to be turbo smooth, but they're not getting there in time. Actually, Canale will be able to wall right, and they're going to have Conde there shortly also. But yeah, they've just been staggered and kind of put into awkward positions. 0907 are touching enough to kind of get a decent fight here almost. But if Canale goes down, which they should really necessarily go down, yet Indra finding them, then it's going to be tough to continue. Pulse bomb used just to take down the other supporters. Doki goes down, and yeah, this will be the point for the Flock. Perhaps have they found the magic cure to defeat 0907?
I don't think so. I think 097 just a little bit of nut-sacking, to steal a phrase from a good friends. Not really the spot you want to be in, still, if you're the Flock. You are forced to play some pretty tricky fights here as we head towards Ruins. 097 will have first positioning, as well as a medium ult advantage. The lack of an OC is going to be somewhat of an issue. Indra, maybe a pick. Oh, lovely one there.
They're behind you. Clearly, 0907 needs to go to more pantomimes. Indra was just in that corner, and like a predator found them in the dead of night. However, the Turbo Smooth did find Indra in the meantime, and the Blizzard here is going to just take Celix out of this one, and now the point is in control for 0907. So even though they got ambushed, they still show that they are the team that can win a fight when they're down a member.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the kind of caliber of team you'd want from a CGL champion, what they're looking to be, what they were in that last season. To get that repeat here, double support ults, not too bad for them. The Flock have the edge on the firepower, on that check marks, but Unisyn have been so consistent with using the tools they have.
Oh, just misses. Nixo could have taken out Contact there, but the sound barrier gets to them in time. Does able to burn down that extra health. Doki takes Nixo down in the meantime. Doki very good in that flexible role of getting those eliminations. We saw that yesterday. Magic goes down though, so does Turbo Smooth. To the point flips to the Flock, and they should be able to hold on to this one. Unless Doki just like wins the fight alone, which to be fair, if they land another kunai to the head of a Tracer, that could happen.
Gets out, not traded though. You're not too bad there. You're still pretty happy with how things are going.
Ooh, brave from Indra, but they know their level. They take down Doki, and that is a big stagger.
That it is. You'll have a relatively fast refight if you want it, considering the Kiri can just TP straight from spawn basically to where the action's going to happen. Indra has been definitely the main force keeping the Flock in it. 50% means this is probably last fight on this flashpoint, and that Orbital Ray could be everything.
Orbital Ray, a big tool in their arsenal. They need to use it wisely. They can't let 0907 just walk away from it, which to be fair, 80%, there's not too much room to. The Flux being countered by the Orbital Ray. Now that's a little bit different to what we've seen before, so that might be enough for them to take Magin out of it. Conde though has pressed the I win button and is going to start just pummeling Celix with a lot of damage. Now dueling Nixo on the side, but Nixo with a nice slide will take them out in the movement of it. And with the Kitsune rush, 0907 pretty much are going to secure it for themselves. They're really just hoping that Nixo can pull a rabbit out of the hat. But no, the sound barrier as well. Too much extra health on the Lucio. Nixo will get icicled. Indra, the last remaining member of the Flock on the point, is going to get forced in. Imagine actually takes Azia down in the meanwhile on the flank with a wall. There's still a fight for the Flock here though.
That there is. It's still going to be an uphill battle. Canel does have to be careful to stay active. The same could be said of Condi, who was under smidge more scrutiny than maybe they'd find ideal. But oh, could be a pick. Oh, that's brutal!
Oh, yeah, and that's it. That's the elimination. The 10907, the map. Unless can Nexo pull a rabbit out their hat. No, there's no rabbits in the hat, because rabbits can't breathe in the hat. The overtime is up. Doki finds Nexo, and this is not going to be a very easy fight to win, but if they want to stay in this finals, they do. 0907 on the verge of just taking out their opponent and proving how good that they really are. Downpour right onto Salix, puts them in a stationary position, and that will be all. Nexo falls, and 0907 are your mid-season finals winners. And yeah, this is a team that's remained undefeated for this half of the season, and honestly, they probably will for the rest of it. I wish good luck to all the rest of the teams if you want to try and beat 0907 at any point in CGL Season 15.
There's a couple teams who can maybe make them sweat, but that's kind of the extent of what we've seen so far, right? I think the most resistance they've had is their one map loss against Bum FC, right? So, as you mentioned, yeah, good luck to anybody who has to face them. And for the Flock, what you can only describe as an incredibly successful mid-season tournament, right? Yeah, it sucks that you went out in the finals in this way, but you look at how far you had to come to get here, and you really can't be too mad, right? Finals for a team, you'll take that every damn day of that week, and they can take what they've learned from this game and many more forward through to the rest of that regular season and towards the end of season playoffs as well. So I hate to say it and be all positive, but both teams, in my opinion, probably come out of this game a winner in their own minds. But in the moment for the Flock, you're probably going to be a little bit tilted still. You couldn't find a smidgen more.
Is that character development on my CGL with Spectrian? Positivity? This is
I've been
wild.
positive before.
Now I feel like I need to be the negative one. No, but you are right. I mean, Flock went up against the Moths. They were undefeated, right? That was already a tough spot. They won. To then be faced with, oh, I need to beat two undefeated teams in a row, and one of them is 0907, who have Kanail, Doki, Turbo Smooth, Magin. Like, that's not a situation where it's like, oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah, no, it's going to be a very one-sided affair, and 0907, by not taking much of a sweat, prove what we all already pretty much knew, that this was the best team in this division. Now they just need to continue that forward into the regular season, then of course to the all-important playoffs. But we will have another chat with Doki now. We talked to them previously, but we'll hear from them again now that they have pretty much cemented themselves as the best team in this tier. So we'll be back with you in a couple minutes to talk to one of the winners. Don't go anywhere too far. Well, folks, we have a very defined best team in this tier of CGL Season 15. The mid-seasons have concluded, and we have a team that has continued their undefeated streak all the way through the mid-season playoffs. And we have, again, one of the players, Doki, joining us again for the interview, and this time, congrats on winning the finals.
Thanks so much.
So, we already asked you some questions yesterday, but there's plenty to ask. First of all, now that it's like 100% confirmed, there's no denying you're the best team in this tier. Something that I'm sure you were probably already confident of.
Yeah.
Looking at the rest of the teams, realistically, you can be as cocky, confident as much as you want. Is there any team that gives you guys concern, that is close enough to your level where they're able to make you sweat?
No, it's not close. These games are just like it's been kind of boring, honestly. I think the yesterday's match was fine because it's like kind of new to play against like OTP teams, but today especially, it's just I don't think there's really competition. I don't think it's gonna be close. I would be surprised if we drop one more map.
Yeah, this felt like a routine doctor's appointment, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, I want to know what the kind of vibe was like in your team, because you guys obviously, I mean, we were saying on a cast, you never really looked like you were stressed at all. You were never put in a position where you had to come up clutch. So what were the commons like? Were you guys just kind of chilling? Was it just like business-like, or was it more like casual and fun?
A mix, I would say. It was never serious, right? I mean, I'm terrible at Brick, and I started playing Brick as well. And we talked about different things, non-related to this match. We're just, I don't know, kind of joking around. Some were just listening to music. Some of us were just like chilling, right? Just not really that serious.
Yeah, fair enough. And then my second question would be, I mean, the concept of a mid-season patch is going to come around sooner, rather than later at this point. Do you think there's any way that the meta could shake up to make another team maybe more likely to be threatening to you? Is there anything that could unseat 097 as the best team in CGL Open tier, or not?
No. I mean, we could play anything, like literally anything, even right now, and would still win. It's just not going to be close. Doesn't matter what happens with the next patch.
Yeah,
thank you much.
That is confidence earned in action, definitely. And I suppose my question a little bit about like the history of 0907, like with this specific roster setup, from like when this roster like began to now, what would you say are like the main things that you guys have improved on together? And like looking forward as well, what are the things that you guys continue to focus on as things to improve on as a team?
I mean, I think the big thing that just helped us improve as a team is just synergy, right? I mean, obviously there's stuff like game understanding, which we are like learning with our coach together. Just learning new things, right? Which, a normal process for, I think, pretty much every team, or should be a normal process. But something that just comes with playing together more is just the synergy, being aware of like how, like me knowing how my tank plays, my DPS plays. I mean, I obviously already have pretty good synergy with my main spot, John Witch, because I've been playing with him for like 9 months now, maybe longer. So that's already a given. But outside of that, obviously just getting used to everyone, and then just also building up the game understanding, learn new things, trying new stuff out, see what works, see what doesn't work, just stuff like that.
Nice. And that effort can definitely be seen in how you guys play as well. Do you have any shout-outs or call-outs or anything you'd like to make on stream?
Yeah, I mean, just as usual, just my team, my coach Yuju, our manager Nicole, and Kinale, who is also playing today, which is I think a first for this season. Just very nice people, very lovely to play with them, and it's always very fun.
Nice. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll let you get back to your life now. And yeah, wish you luck for the rest of CGL and also for the rest of Face It as Face It goes on. Of course, gets closer and closer to the playoffs there as well. So, wish you luck on both ends.
Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Thank you for joining us. All right, well, a chapter in CGL has been half written, and it's looking like we have a clear winner of that chapter. 0907 have earned the confidence that they have in themselves by the mere action of being undefeatable, untouchable almost, and that's to the other teams. That's a challenge as well. The other teams should look at that as a challenge and not a downfall to see who can give 0907 a loss, if anyone can. So take it as a challenge is what I'd say to the rest of the teams. I want to see someone fight back. I want to see someone make 0907 sweat. It's easier said than done, but still, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to wait and see as the EU open bracket resumes next week, if anyone can actually do that. Of course, while this game was going on, we also had another game. I believe that was EMC Kanidos taking on...
Oh, drum roll, please.
Yeah, sorry, Blitz Marauders. As you can see, that was a 3-1 matchup. So finishing about the same time as our game here. Later on, of course, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sort of Skilled going to be taking on a low ground main there in our NA Diamond division. But other than that, it's going to be all the CGL action here today. I believe we're finishing up some games tomorrow as well from the last available day for the mid-season tournament. Just triple check that right now. Yep, we are.
Finals. Yeah, so they're the Diamond Finals. It's GTTD up against ... ellipses. I'm pausing, not because I don't know, but for drama. Kira. So that will be the Diamond Masters and... So Diamond Finals, and the Masters Finals will also be tomorrow, and that's Dream Eaters Unova Unks versus the Cat Plague. So those are our two games tomorrow. If you are old and remember casters of bygone eras, my old caster duo Crumble will be ringing for GTTD in the Diamond division. So eyes out for that. I believe on DPS as well. So we'll see how Crumble can handle that heat. But unfortunately, I am casting the other game, so I can't make fun of him too much. But alas, that is us for tonight, as 0907 very smoothly confirmed that they are the best team in this tier. My name is Gio. I've been casting for you today alongside Spec. Thank you to Echo and to Rhino and to Mara for production. And, well, we'll see you tomorrow and later tonight. Don't forget to laugh loud and love yourself, folks. Good night.